Talia Ricci. Tonight, the TTC hosts its annual Underground Freedom Train ride.
How do we bring an innovative idea to Canadians about a significant milestone in our history, a milestone that marked the end of the enslavement period?
The event marks Emancipation Day on August 1st. Plus,
you are allowed to use as much force as is reasonably necessary to protect yourself.
A Milton man formerly accused of killing a home intruder earlier this year no longer faces a charge of second-degree murder. And
I thought at first maybe there's some type of fraud on the account.
A man is warning others after being given a poor credit rating because of a glitch at Equifax. Tomorrow is Emancipation Day, and tonight many are gathering to take a special train ride before midnight to recognize the historic day. Anam Khan joins us live now from Union Station. Anam, tell us a bit more about this event tonight.
Right, Talia, there's about hundreds and hundreds of people here. There's music, there was dancing, there's lots of really good energy. And at 11:40, people will hop on the train at Union Station, go towards Downsview, where there'll also be speeches and dances. And the goal of this is to really remind people the difficult journey people took years ago to get to freedom where they are today.
It's been 10 years since the first Emancipation Train ride in Toronto. The event has been rapidly growing over the years, attracting people from across North America.
I think it's important to be a part of our ancestral legacy because of our forefathers. They were here to build a foundation so that I could be standing here today.
The subway train symbolizes the Underground Railroad, which Harriet Tubman, a social activist, used to lead American slaves to freedom in Canada. It was on this day, over 160 years ago, that the British Empire abolished slavery. The ride is also known as the Underground Freedom Train.
So we wanted to have Canadians come together to look at these milestones. When students are in school and they hear Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, we wanted to make that connection.
The event also has a connection to the Toronto Caribbean Carnival, which has been celebrating Caribbean culture and traditions for over 50 years.
When we see Carnival, what do we see? We see street theater. We see a commentary of the society. We see people dressed in costumes. We hear the drums, the heartbeat of the stuff. So Carnival is the most public expression, if you will, of emancipation.
Organizers say the train ride and the festival has become an annual tradition for many.
One, you gotta close your eyes.
Passengers were also given corn seeds. That's part of the Planting Seeds theme this year. They were told to go home and plant those seeds to represent new beginnings.
Thanks, Anna. A man in Milton was charged with second-degree murder after he shot and killed an intruder inside his home earlier this year. That charge has now been dropped, his lawyer arguing the killing was in self-defense. Our Farm Morales spoke with the man's lawyer and has more.
The man's lawyer says his client is relieved, happy this ordeal is over for him. His main point that in his view, this was a clear case of self-defense. Now, to take you back, all this happened back in February. Witnesses told the police a group of people approached this home in Milton early in the morning, and investigators believed they were intent on committing a robbery. The group went in, and that is when they were confronted by someone living there. Police say, quote, a number of shots were fired, and one person was found dead on scene. 2 others were arrested, one with a firearm, and 3 others fled that scene. The resident, this man, Ali Mian, was arrested and later charged with second-degree murder. He claimed he fired those shots in self-defense to protect him and his mother. Now, today, the Crown confirmed to CBC News the murder charge was withdrawn, and that in general, if a Crown determines there is not a reasonable prospect of conviction, or if it isn't in the public interest, it has a duty to withdraw a charge, which it did in this case. Now, the 21-year-old's lawyer shared this photo with us from outside the courthouse. He says the case took a toll on him.
He's very happy, of course, ecstatic, finally has his life back, freedom back, a heavy burden lifted off of his shoulders as he was facing murder charges, and knowing that if he's found guilty, he'd be going to jail for a very long time.
Now, Virk says his client is a registered firearm owner, and he maintains that he used that gun legally. It's interesting because I've been speaking to legal experts on this case, and what they did is they cited Section 34 of our criminal code, which basically says a person is not guilty of an offense if the act is committed for the purpose of defending or protecting themselves or someone else, and if the act is considered reasonable in the circumstances.
We're not Texas, we're not Florida with stand your ground where everybody can walk around with a concealed carry weapon. The fact that there's a lawfully registered firearm in the home here is important. But for pure self-defense, if you're met with the threat of imminent harm, something very serious coming your way, your life is in danger, you are allowed to use as much force as is reasonably necessary to protect yourself.
Now, there's still a lot of unknowns in this case. I did connect with Halton Regional Police today, and what they told me is that the investigation is ongoing. That's with respect to the 3 other suspects in this case who might have been involved with this alleged home invasion, but there are no other updates. What we do know for now is this murder charge against Ali Man is no longer moving ahead.
That was Farah Morali reporting. A sad update to last week's story of the falling tree branch in Trinity Bellwoods Park. The woman who was hit has died from her injuries. The coroner's office confirming this afternoon that Pari Nadimi was killed. The woman in her 70s was hit by a falling tree branch last Tuesday in the popular downtown park just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Paramedics originally said the woman had critical injuries. The City of Toronto says the tree has been removed from the park and it's performing visual assessments of trees in high-density areas. It's not the first time this has happened in Trinity Bellwoods. In 2016, a French tourist was killed trying to protect his wife from a falling tree branch. And an update tonight to an ongoing investigation in Peel. A Brampton man has been charged with the murder of a Mississauga woman who Peel police say was found dead in her apartment earlier this month. 29-year-old Jordan Sanders faces second-degree murder charges in the death of 21-year-old Pitch Foompa. Police performed a wellness check at Foompa's Port Credit apartment on Thursday, July 20th, and found the woman dead. Homicide detectives believe she may have died 2 to 3 days before she was found. Police have not said yet whether there was a relationship between the suspect and the victim. Turning now to a dramatic road rage incident over the weekend. Police have arrested 2 people in connection to it. The incident was all caught on video, and you see at one point a man driving up onto the sidewalk, narrowly missing several pedestrians. Greg Ross has more.
This cell phone video shows a blue Ford Escape speeding along the sidewalk on Front Street. Pedestrians try to stop it before the SUV turns into the bike lanes on Lower Simcoe.
That's kind of very scary, actually, especially with the families and all that, people, walking on the side streets.
How can he just drive on the place where people are walking, It's not safe.
It's scary, just like the thing that there's bad drivers on the road.
Fortunately, nobody was hurt. The video does not capture what led to the SUV driving on the sidewalk.
Police say the driver of that Ford Escape was involved in an altercation with another driver just moments before that video was taken. They say he smashed the hood of the other driver's vehicle with a collapsible baton.
There were police officers in the area who were able to quickly get to the scene.
Officers attempted to stop the vehicle. However, the man proceeded to drive through heavy traffic and onto the sidewalk, nearly missing pedestrians and striking 7 vehicles that were stopped.
Police were eventually able to stop the car, arresting the driver and a passenger. The driver is facing several charges.
Corey Lane, 25 of Toronto, was arrested and charged with possession of a weapon, mischief to property under $5,000, 2 counts of fail to stop for police, 4 counts of dangerous operation. Also arrested was Audrey Humphreys, 18 of Toronto, and she was charged with carry concealed weapon.
Police say Lane's license was suspended at the time, and he did not have the proper plates on the vehicle. There were 2 other passengers who were released by police. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Popping outside now for a live look at the city. Clear out there tonight and sitting at around 17 degrees. Nick Circumich joins us now for a first look at the forecast, and we're seeing some relief from that humidity last week.
Yeah, no kidding, Talia. We were seeing humidex values that were up into the high 30s in a lot of places. Today, much different. Now, the temperatures hovered around 24 degrees. That's a hair below the seasonal mark, but pretty close. Seasonal about 27 degrees. The humidity, though, not much, only up to about 26 with the humidex. Now, it did come with some rain showers earlier today, heavy at times, with those basically clearing out. As we head through tonight, we're looking at mainly clear skies to maybe just a little bit of cloud cover tomorrow morning. Should see lots in the way of sunshine. By the afternoon, the risk for a few light showers across the GTA, but if you see them at all, it should be pretty isolated in nature. That clears out pretty quickly by tomorrow evening, and then we've got more in the way of sunshine. Forecast for tonight, 14 degrees. Again, just a few clouds, but generally should be pretty clear and dry as well. Light winds. Tomorrow, we're looking at a high of 24 degrees, again, just below the seasonal mark. Slight chance of a few isolated showers, but otherwise a pretty nice day. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just a bit.
Thanks, Nick. 3,700 Metro grocery workers are striking for a third day, shutting down dozens of locations around the GTA. The workers say they're fighting for better wages and are prepared to strike for as long as necessary. Dale Manukduk has the latest from the picket line.
It's been 3 days of honking and cheering across Toronto, from North York to Midtown to the Danforth. Metro workers are digging in.
We want Metro to pay their workers what they're worth, and we'll stand out here as long as it takes.
Unifor, the union representing the workers, say they earn an average of $16 to $17 per hour. For a brief time 3 years ago, they received a $2 bump during the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic.
They all came together and stripped it away from us right away. Didn't take long. I'm not saying we're nurses and doctors, but we were there too. Other people got to work from home. We still had to be on the subways, front line.
And now some of these grocery store workers are experiencing food insecurity.
Instead of going to food banks, if some people are doing that, we should be able to survive in the world and not be underpaid for what we do.
Metro Ontario said pharmacies will remain open. 18 of the 27 stores impacted by the strike are in Toronto, the rest in Brantford, Orangeville, Milton, Oakville, Brampton, and Mississauga. This shopper stopped to berate protesters.
You're horrible. You scare people. Yeah, you do. I would like to go in there.
Have a nice day, Mom. Have a nice day. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.
She claimed that we had to do it peacefully. We are peacefully. We're not rioting.
Metro says that it provided significant increases over the course of the deal. Workers here at the Bathurst and Lawrence location said it amounted to about $4 over the course of 4 years. And given Toronto's affordability crisis, that just wasn't going to cut it.
By 2027, I'll be making $23.90 or something like that. It's not going to be enough. It's not even enough today.
In a statement to CBC Toronto, Metro says, "We worked constructively with the union and the employees bargaining committee, and we reached a mutually satisfactory agreement that they unanimously recommended to employees. The proposed wage increases are above the inflation rate for 2023, and future increases are above the projected inflation rate."
Inflation was always 2%. It's 2% every year. It's been 2% for 3 decades. And all of a sudden, it's 10 or 15% over the course of 2 years.
And with food, rent, and mortgage interest rates in general all above those historical inflation numbers,
they have yet to see wage increases commensurate with those higher prices. And so this is sort of the revenge of the worker.
In a statement from Unifor Local 414, it says members remain focused on achieving a fair collective agreement that addresses the significant affordability challenges that they face. It's also urging members of the public to contact their local Metro store and voice their support for workers that are striking and their demands. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
When we come back, we're talking soccer after Canada is punted out of the FIFA Women's World Cup. We'll get you the latest from the field in Australia and reaction from back here in Toronto. Plus, now to a CBC News exclusive. A customer of Ontario's largest credit union is warning others to check their Equifax credit score after discovering a discrepancy on his own. His credit rating dropped because of a technical problem that made it look like he was carrying twice the amount of debt than he actually was. As Angelina King reports, he's not the only Meridian Credit Union client dealing with the unwelcome surprise.
As you can see, the payments, they're up to date.
Velimir Dretzen's credit score dropped to a rating considered poor. He says he wouldn't have noticed the discrepancy had it not been for a landlord asking him specifically for an Equifax credit check earlier this month.
Like, I would have been none the wiser.
That's because Dretzen gets his credit report from a different rating agency. He was shocked when he compared the two. Dretzen's Equifax credit score was 526, which puts him in the poor category, a rating that could make it hard for him to borrow money. But TransUnion listed his score as good at 676, 150 points higher.
You know, you put the work in to improve it and to have a nice, good history, you know, for the last couple of years, and you're still at the bottom of the barrel.
The Equifax report listed two versions of the same maxed out credit card.
And so I thought at first maybe there's some type of like fraud on the account.
There wasn't. Turns out the problem lies with the technology change at Equifax after Meridian took over the management of its credit cards from a third party last fall. The credit bureau says that resulted in creating a second credit card account showing up on some Meridian customers' reports. Equifax says the problem only affects some Meridian clients.
So it was showing instead of 3,000 outstanding, I had 6,000 outstanding. It's like I opened two credit cards with the same person for the same amount on the same day.
Dretzen's score was fixed after he and CBC Toronto contacted Equifax, but not in time for him to apply to rent a basement suite in Etobicoke. Now he's warning other Meridian customers.
Like, I know how stressful it was for me. Like, it's not fair for them, and I'm thinking it would have been nice if someone did this 6 months ago if they got nailed. If it's affecting, you know, their whole database of credit card clients, you know, that's a lot of people.
Neither Meridian nor Equifax would say how many customers are affected. Equifax did say it's working to fix the issue for all Meridian customers by September, and for those who need an immediate fix can contact them.
It's very important to have good credit.
Credit counselor Mark Kalinowski says a poor credit rating could force people to private lenders instead of banks.
It can add tens of thousands of dollars extra over the lifetime of that product.
As for Meridian, the company says it's reporting credit card information correctly to Equifax, and employees have been trained to help customers contact Equifax to make sure their credit rating reflects the right score. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Was optimistic at the beginning. We had good possession, and then it started to fall apart. And you know, as supporters, you continue to hope and pray until such time as you realize it's out of reach.
Soccer fans got up early this morning to cheer on Canada's Women's World Cup team, but they were left disappointed. Canada losing 4-0 to the host team, Australia. Our women needed a win or a tie to have a shot at moving on. As Lindsay Duncombe explains, there are no guarantees in this tournament, even for the reigning Olympic champions.
This was absolutely devastating for Canada. The worst game the women have had in years. Every time the Australians scored, this stadium shook with cheers, and it happened a lot. The Matildas came in strong, 2 goals in the first half by forward Hayley Rasso, and they could have had a third. An Australian goal was ruled offside. 4 substitutions at the half didn't make a difference. Sophie Schmidt missed the net, and Australians hit it again and again. There were tears in the mixed zone.
Just a bad night to have a bad night.
What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think they just showed up better than we did. Yeah, I mean, they took advantage of some momentum early, and I think the game got a bit stretched for us, and yeah, they wanted it more than we did tonight.
What happened?
Not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. We were ready for this game, so yeah.
It felt like that first goal so early came as a bit of a surprise. They just never really got the momentum back.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was tough. I don't have many words right now. It was tough.
This will be the last World Cup for Sophie Schmidt. Captain Christine Sinclair is 40 and didn't answer questions about her future, but she is thinking about the future of the game in Canada.
I think this, for me, is a wake-up call for back home, a wake-up call to our federation and the lack of a professional league, the lack of resources for the national teams, the lack of resources for the youth national teams that similar as on the men's side. I mean, if the resources aren't there, we're going to fall behind.
At a press conference after the game, head coach Bev Priestman summed up the result simply. She said, this is going to hurt like hell. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News.
And Nick's back now with our extended forecast. Nick, what's the rest of the week looking like?
Well, you know, a little bit of a mixed bag, Talia, but for the most part, pretty good summer week in store. Here's a look at your weather headlines tonight. As I mentioned earlier, we've got partly cloudy skies to mainly clear skies in some places, seasonal temperatures or maybe a degree or two below, and on and off showers. But we will see some good sunshine in the forecast. In fact, here's how it all plays out. Heading into tomorrow morning, we've got mostly clear skies. By the afternoon, though, I mentioned this earlier on, we may see a few isolated showers popping up. Generally, from the models that I've seen, it looks like it'll be mostly to the north and to the west end of the GTA. But again, fairly isolated in nature if you see them at all. Otherwise, looking at generally sunny skies. That kind of clears out into the evening. And then by Wednesday, we've got sunshine, and that sunshine basically sticks around through Wednesday. Thursday, though, a little bit of light rain showers in the forecast, but I think even there, we're going to see the sunshine. Overnight temperatures tonight, we're looking at temps down to about plus 13 or 14 degrees across the GTA. And again, this is a combination of both the clear skies and the light winds and the drier air as well. All of those tend to lead to slightly cooler overnight lows, which I think for many you'll find it refreshing. In terms of the winds, a little breezy earlier this afternoon. We had wind gusts up to about 40 kilometers per hour. Those are easing off as well. By tomorrow morning, light winds in the forecast pretty much sticks around as we head through Tuesday night into Wednesday as well. So all in all, a calm day, and for the most part, sunshine as well. Here's a look at your 5-day forecast. Again, mainly sunny skies to partly cloudy skies tomorrow. Slight chance of seeing a few isolated showers. Wednesday, though, looks basically just sunny. Wednesday evening, though, we get some cloud cover moving in. Chance of seeing a few showers there on Thursday. Shouldn't be much in the way of heavy rainfall, but a few isolated showers. Clears up on Friday. And then into Saturday, we've got a few showers as well. Now, mind you, the average temperatures for this time of year, around 27 degrees, slightly below. We're not doing too bad, Talia.
Thanks, Nick. And that's our show for you tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Chris Glover has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6, and I'll see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Good night.